Welcome back to the DCXP podcast, episode 17. Savannah, Mike, and Joe back at it again. What is up, guys? How we feeling?
What is up?
We're doing good.
Well, we thought we were done. We thought we were done with Washington football. I always thought, I was like, is there going to be an episode where we just don't talk about it? That's not going to happen based on what just happened, which Jason Wright went on the radio. It was a 30-minute conversation, which was awesome to hear. I think a lot of Washington fans tuned into that on Grant and Danny. And he basically confirmed that the Washington football team name will be the name for at least the 2021 season, because they're like, I don't know the exact quote I'm paraphrasing, but there's not enough time to get all that trademark stuff, quote unquote, buttoned up. And he doesn't want any like bootleg. He was kind of joking about people like having bootleg stuff and all that things that go with like a new brand. So of course now the name debate has resurfaced, and it looks like it's at that like critical mass point already. And I just want to tell people we have a whole nother year. I guess we got to talk about something. So that's what's going around. Red Wolves now is back in the mix. People think it's dead because he said, quote, "It's not going to be some random ass bird." That's his quote on the radio. He said it's going to be meaningful to hopefully the area, to the history. I don't know what that means now. Do we have any inkling? Do we have any like guesses?
No, I'm not even going to try to guess because we have no idea. What do you guys think?
I want it to be something super random, like the Washington Phoenix, like no S at the end. I love a name with no S. I think that's so cool.
Well, I was thinking, I'm like, if they name it like the Washington Freedom or something, but that was a women's soccer team. That was like before they shut down, and now they're back as the Washington Spirit. They were the Washington Freedom, I'm pretty sure. And so I don't know if we're gonna.
It's very like AFL-y, XFL-y. Though.
Yeah, I don't want anything like
but
that.
Like people, here's the thing: people are like, we need to make the Valor the. I was like, no.
You know, somebody had a good point. They said it should just be Washington and just
stop with this.
Just take the football team.
People are living in the moment of us making the playoffs at 7-9. By the way, in a bad division, people are like, you know what? Just keep it the Washington football team. I'm telling you, if we start sucking again, it's going to get old real fast.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't want a mascot. I think that is the dumbest thing in the entire world. So I'm cool with fine if no Washington football team. I'm cool with that, but fine. No Washington football team. Do not get a stupid ass animated character on the helmets again. I hate that.
You don't want a Red Wolf.
That kind of narrows it down.
No, I am out on Red Wolves. See, and I've really been thinking about it. I'm out.
I'm not out on Red Wolves completely. I'm more prone to if they were just the Wolves, which I like alliteration, so it's Washington Wolves. So if they were going the Wolf route, but I think Red Wolves is kind of like people just want it because of the R. They want to somehow have HGTR back. I think that was the thing. But he did say burgundy and gold is staying.
Love that.
Love that. You kind of have to.
That's good.
I also went back and looked at the post that kind of blew up for Red Wolves. I think I'm not going to take credit for the Red Wolves popularity. I'll just say that post definitely got the ball rolling. And I went back and there's 329 quote tweets of it. And I just was scrolling them. I would say 90% of them were, wow, this is dope. Like I wasn't a Red Wolves fan, but now I want to be, or something like that, which was cool to see. And then there's this one guy, I wish I replied to him. He said, I don't know who this company is, but they're putting out some amateur level, like logo work. And I was just like, that's mean. Don't be that guy.
You make the logo then if you're so good at it.
I know, and it said he loves graphic design. I'm like, I was looking at his profile, and I'm just thinking, where's your work?
Yeah, I'm sure graphic design is his passion.
His website was like a WordPress blog that didn't relate to graphic design. Anyway, I forget his name. I'm not gonna give him the time of day on here, but yeah, that was like the one thing I was like, damn it, this guy.
But Mike just wanted to say, "F you," that guy who's listening. Yeah,
God. Joe cursing.
25 cents in the swear jar, Joe.
All right.
I'll hopefully remember where that pin drop was. So yeah, we'll have like maybe a broader name episode. It's just we're still in the NFL playoffs, which are happening today as we record. I think in about an hour and 20 minutes, the Packers take on the Rams. I don't know if anybody's looked at pictures from that game. Is there snow? I'm assuming there might be. It's Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I just always assume there's snow there.
But with that said, the other thing with the Washington football team is the GM search. It seems like they're just interviewing. It feels like I've seen 100 names being like this person, this person, this person. I don't know. I'll ask Joe this. Do you have any favorite for that?
I don't know the whole dynamic. Like, do they not like the guy that's already there?
Well, Kyle Smith is the one that people are wondering why he isn't promoted, but we don't know. Here's what I always say: do these people want to be GMs? Maybe they're very maybe they're very happy with what they do, and they don't want the overarching responsibility of if your team fails or not.
Okay, because it's
I'm not reporting that. I'm just saying, like, some people, it's like Madden when people are like, hey, make this offensive coordinator the next head coach. Maybe that guy just likes being an offensive coordinator. People always associate like success as like a coordinator with like he has to be a head coach.
But I could have sworn I heard him say things how like great it was to get like the confidence from Rivera that he could do the job. Like, I don't know. But the other thing is the internal guy that they're looking at, Stokes, I think. That's kind of weird. Like, right? They can't, if you're Kyle Smith and you want to stay there for a lesser role, and this guy he's basically leapfrogging you to the GM position, like that's got to kind of hurt a little bit, right? If you have any pride.
Again, we don't
know. And then
know.
the other thing is, he's interviewing the other guy, can't remember his name, but he's coming from the Titans and he was in Carolina for like 16 years.
Herney?
So
no, wait.
I think he's the front runner, honestly.
I'm trying to find the list of, in other hires, the Jets hired Robert Saleh from the Niners, who is the hyper-energetic defensive coordinator from the Niners. And then there's a couple other hires. I think Arthur Smith, which is the most generic name, goes to the Falcons. Remember, they used to have a guy named Mike Smith as their head coach, who Joe thinks looks like our dad, basically, but he doesn't. Wait, he looks like no, that's not what it was. He looks like he could be one of our uncles. That's what it was. Yeah.
Does he just have like uncle vibes, or does he actually look?
Facially, he kind of looks like a Civiello.
Okay.
If you like, Civiello, who's like 60 years old. But
yeah. So the guy's name is Cowden from the Titans, I think.
From the Titans.
Sound right?
Oh, that's right.
That's the guy that I would say is going to win. Ryan Cowden, VP of Player Personnel. He's
yeah. Now that it's from there.
Well, and again, we don't know
for sure.
We don't know the dynamic, so
put a bow on it.
I think everybody knows like Ron Rivera kind of makes the final decisions, and I think he just wants somebody to also help with that who is established in the league. But again, that's hopefully maybe they'll have an answer by the next time we're on. But and then the last thing in Nugget I saw, that the most compelling thing was that Darby, Ronald Darby, who signed on kind of a 1-year, I want to say prove it deal, did really well, and now I guess there's interest in him re-signing. So I'd be open to that as long as he's not stupid and asking for a ridiculous amount of money, which I don't think he will be. But I'm on the Darby re-sign train for sure.
I thought you were going to say the last little nugget was Chase Young's big W.
Oh, that's a good second nugget.
That rocks.
That does rock, and I was like, man, like. What I was joking, like, what a team player, and then somebody reminded me that, and I was saying what a team player kind of in a joking way, like he bought a $80,000 chain of his team's logo. Somebody reminded me that that logo is not going to be around probably next year. So I think Burgundy Blog, who has vilified himself on Twitter, said it's going to look really good in a Goodwill store when that logo's not around anymore. So It's kind of a mean thing to say, but it's a really cool chain. And then Terry McLaurin also, I think Terry McLaurin had a chain of him doing his like whatever celebration that is. Somebody can fill me in on.
It was from his first touchdown. It's the celebration he did when he like scored his first touchdown.
But I think that dance is something like it's from like a movie or something.
I almost want to think was he the one that did the scar and like from The Office?
That was the beloved. Oh my God, blanking on it. Joe, white receiver. Where's number 14? Quinn.
Trey Quinn.
Trey Quinn, yeah. Yeah, he did the scarring, and that people love Trey Quinn.
I love Trey Quinn.
Anyway, and then the other.
He's okay.
And then
bring him back.
I'll get into
some punts.
I'll get into. Wait, what?
God, we're talking about Trey Quinn. I mean, we could bring him back. I mean, he can catch punts. Looks like Steven Sims isn't cut for it. So.
Okay, well, I have one more national sports story. I'll wait till the national sports section of this. But yeah, so I think we're all in agreement that Darby should resign at a reasonable price. Wizards, real quick. They got COVID issues. They're not going to play for a while, it seems. They got, I think it was 9 players in safety protocol. 6 had tested positive. I don't think the names came out of which 6. I don't know if anybody else saw something there, but they're kind of just chilling. Russell Westbrook's possibly out 3 to 4 weeks with a quad injury that he re-aggravated, but he'll be reevaluated in a couple days. And then I put it out there real quick. Should the Washington Wizards trade for Andre Drummond? Because he is a free agent. He was not part of that massive trade that we'll get to real quick in the national sports section, but they have too many centers and they got to trade one. So yeah, I put it out there. What would you trade for Andre Drummond? Joe, real quick, would you do that?
Yeah, I'd do it. I don't know what they want, but I wouldn't trade Rui. I wouldn't trade Denny. I wouldn't trade Brad.
Here's the problem.
Everything else is on the table. Seriously.
Here's the problem. He makes $28 million. So you have to find a way to reach $28 million with your players. And there's not a lot of ways to do that because all those younger guys make like $2 million. And you don't want to give up a young, nice player. So I would say you have to find a third team and try to make the salaries work. But yeah, I would trade.
Or Miles Turner. Those are Miles Turner and Andre Drummond are the 2 guys that I would like.
Well, I think Quentin Mayo put out a tweet. It was it wasn't a GIF. It was like a little video of like that kid who's like on a calculator and he's like looking up and he's trying to figure out something and it's Quentin said me trying to figure out how to get Andre Drummond in a trade. Yeah. And that's when I first saw that and I was like, okay, I'll just like make something like and ask the question, would you trade for Andre Drummond? And then Chris Miller last night tweeted his stat line. I think he had 33 points and 24 rebounds. And he said, hey, like pick up the phone and call and say, hey, what do you want for him? So that'll be an interesting, but yeah, Wizards aren't playing basketball for a while. To the Nationals, Kurt Suzuki is no longer officially, he's gone.
To the Angels, he went.
I'll say, I'll open this up. Savannah, do you have a favorite Kurt Suzuki memory if you had to pick one?
Oh, I mean, when you come back against the Mets and he hits that home run, that whole game was the most electric moment of sports I've ever witnessed. It was the greatest night ever, and Kurt Suzuki was literally started that.
So that is the first memory that pops in my head. But he did have a massive home run in the World Series that I think broke a 2-2 tie. But the reason it's the Mets is because every time I think of that home run, I don't think of the call. I don't think of like what specific day it was. I think of the guy, I think it's One Pursuit on Twitter, One Pursuit Nats or whatever his Twitter handle is, or One Pursuit Takes, that's what it is. OPT, I think he goes by. And he's the one who puts the Celine Dion to those home runs.
Oh yeah.
And awesome. It's, though it makes it so much better. I would watch all those home runs in the World Series with that track on it. It just makes it better.
Yeah.
It also makes you want to cry. I don't know why, but
that's great.
But yeah, so Kurt Suzuki gone, Joe. I don't know if you have. It's pretty.
Those are like the two biggest memories for me, honestly. There's no reason to get like too technical over his Nats career. I mean, those are the two big ones, right?
Yeah,
So,
he wasn't the greatest hitter, but he actually improved as a hitter. Like he left the Nats and came back like a better hitter, in my opinion. But he was always a good defensive catcher. Also, that's why he was good to have as a 1B catcher. And then the other news I saw, a big prospect signing. They signed a guy named Armando Cruz, who I think turned 17 today. I remember looking at his birthday, and he was 16, and it said his birthday was January 16th. So,
wow, happy birthday!
So happy birthday, Armando. Yeah, he's a
welcome. Come on the podcast.
We'll get a translator.
Translator, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But yeah, so he was born in 2004. That makes me feel so old. He's a shortstop. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the scouting grading scale. It's a 20/80 scale. And basically how scouts do it is they give you a number on your ability. So hit, run, field, power, arm. He's a 55 hit, 55 run, 60 field, 40 power, 55 arm. And he's also he's 17 now. They say basically all those are going to go up because as he gets stronger and stuff. But he's apparently one of the best defensive shortstop prospects. Or no, he's the best defensive prospect in this international class, like at all positions. And I was watching a video somebody posted. He was doing some ridiculous stuff with the ball. Did you see this video, Savannah?
Yeah.
He caught the ball between his legs and flicked it between his legs, caught it with his right hand and like power flicked it to first. And I was like, oh, this guy's good. Like I think of Javi Baez at second base, the way Javi Baez he's a magician with the baseball. He does the no-look tags. He does. So I'm kind of excited, even though you're not going to see him for at least 2 years. I mean, I don't say anything about the 19-year-old age range because Juan Soto. So I don't rule anything out. Maybe he grows into his body really quickly. We don't know.
How much did they give Soto? Do you remember? Just $1 million, right?
His like signing bonus at like 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't like a.
Yeah, like this guy giving this guy $4 million. You know, I feel like he might be another.
Well, sometimes you know if you feel good about international I mean, they've missed on every team misses on international signings. I'm just shocked these like 16-year-old Dominican kids are getting $4 million, which to a lot of them from the Dominican is like $100 million. Like that's because a lot of them are growing up dirt poor. So. By the way, the greatest quote ever. To me, it would
feel like $100 million. To me, it would feel like $100 million.
I mean, at this point, like $20,000 feels like $100 million to me. So, but the one thing I'll say that with a lot of those people coming from that country being poor is that Juan Soto still has the greatest quote of all time. When he was on the radio and they asked him, "Why don't you take days off?" He said, "I don't want to be poor again." And I was like, "That's an amazing quote. That's why." He's loved. So,
I just love this guy.
I love
anyway. So, okay, Nationals. We hit the Nationals. The Capitals, they started.
One more Nats thing. They avoided arbitration with 4 players, Trey Turner, Juan Soto, Joe Ross, and Josh Bell.
So the last two, I don't know the details on the first two you mentioned. Trey Turner, I think, settled at $13 million. And Juan Soto, I think, was like 8. Okay. I was going to say 7.5. So, okay. So... which just means basically they extend a year without baseball contracts. I mean, are just so weird. You have team control for like what seems like 10 years, and then all of a sudden they're like $300 million deal. That's why the Kyler Murray argument when he was like choosing baseball or football, it was people said you have this money from the A's that you got in a signing bonus as I want to say he was like the 6th pick or something like that, and you had to basically wait till he was 28 to see another real payday. But as an NFL quarterback, his contract as the number 1 pick was whatever it was, way more than he got from the A's right off the bat, plus endorsements that you're going to get right off the bat, plus NFL quarterbacks are getting paid a ridiculous amount of money if you're like half decent. So I thought it was a no-brainer for him to choose football. But yeah, so arbitration done. Baseball contract, stupid. Capitals started in Buffalo. They played the last 2 nights, Thursday, Friday in Buffalo. They started off 2-0, a 6-4 win, and then a 2-1 win. Vitek Vanacek made his NHL debut as a goalie, and he won. So looks like a good start there. We have to note that Savannah is a Steelers fan, but she's also a Penguins fan, and we deal with it. So Savannah, your team's 0-2. Your team's opposite, but they play each other tomorrow, as today is Saturday.
Right, of course. So I just, slow start, totally fine. 0-2, we're getting warmed up. I hate losing to Philadelphia, but I love beating Washington more than I hate losing to Philly. So I'm totally ready for Sidney Crosby to go all out, score I don't know, 4 goals.
We're just clarifying here. We're clarifying here. You have completely put it out there and outed yourself that you're not going to be rooting for the Washington Capitals.
On Sunday? God, no.
But in general, like how you root for the Washington football team now, but if they played each other,
no, she's not gonna.
It's totally fine.
Would I root for their complete destruction, losing out the rest of the season? No. Would it make me laugh if they only won 6 more games? Yeah. So.
Okay. Well,
by rooting for them, I don't know.
Luckily, our podcast listener base is not comprised of a lot of Caps fans at the moment, so I think you're in the clear. But
I don't know if listener from Austria cares about
the Caps. They play hockey in Austria.
Maybe our Austrian listener he'll become a Penguins fan. Yeah. Maybe I'll convince him.
Maybe they just ride with Austrian players like LeBron fans do.
Maybe. Come to the city of Pittsburgh, we win a lot more. Not recently, but we do.
Well, speaking of, this is a great segue. Speaking of that, did we see Chase Claypool's comments? Chase Claypool needs to not talk. I don't know what's in the water in Pittsburgh and their receivers, but they just drink something and they go a little crazy. Savannah, you've seen what he did, right? Or said?
No, what he said.
Okay, so let's do the timeline here. He was on I want to say TikTok Live, which I didn't know was a thing.
Oh God, why?
It shouldn't be a thing, but he's on TikTok Live, not Instagram Live. And somebody asked him about the loss to the Browns. He was like, tough loss, blah, blah, blah. He's like, but it doesn't matter because the Browns are going to get clapped on Sunday. And everybody's like, okay, dude, you salty much? And then he went on a podcast and he basically doubled down on that. And he said they're going to get blown out. And he said, I would have handled it with more class if they handled themselves. I wouldn't be so salty if they handled themselves with more class. I guess he didn't like how Juju was made fun of for his Corvette dance or whatever. But hey, Juju danced on logos all season. You're going to have that coming to you. But Chase Claypool essentially was being a sore loser and saying how the Browns are going to get blown out. So people are monitoring.
An entire season in the city of Pittsburgh and listen to how everybody talks about the city of Cleveland and then tell me that if someone asked you about the Browns, you wouldn't be like, Cleveland sucks. I hate Cleveland. It's just a thing here. It's a reaction.
No, I think there's that guy that made that video, Cleveland, and it's just how Cleveland is not the greatest city in the world.
Yeah.
It's
it's actually called Cleveland Sucks.
Yeah. Actually, okay, it is, because when she said Cleveland sucks, I'm like, isn't that a YouTube video title?
Yeah.
But yeah, that video is hilarious because our economy's run by LeBron James.
I have seen that.
Anyway, so Chase Claypool, the NFL divisional playoffs start today. Like I said, quick picks. Who are we picking in Green Bay, LA?
Green Bay.
Okay, Baltimore, Buffalo.
Buffalo.
I know the answer to this. Cleveland, KC.
Cleveland.
For
Jack.
And then
blown out.
This one's going to be
with Chase Claypool.
This one's going to be interesting. Buccaneers, Saints.
Saints.
I disrespect the Bucs. They'll probably win, but I disrespect them.
I just hate Tom Brady. So.
For the record, I'll say Packers. I'm gonna go with Ravens. I feel an upset for some reason there. KC, and then I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers because I think it would be cool to see Tom Brady go to the Super Bowl. Or no, I want to see Tom Brady and Rodgers.
That is fun. And
that is what we wanted in the Super Bowl that we never got.
You get an Antonio Brown Super Bowl as well.
No, thank God.
Yeah, Super Bowl week AB.
Yeah, let's give him another platform.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that was kind of mentioned that I wanted to make sure I just talked to in full was there is an NBA trade that happened that was massive, and I'm going to read the details. So if you doze off, it's okay because it might take 5 minutes to read all these. But here's the thing, and not to bring politics into this at all, but this trade happened around the time we have impeachment news. And let's just say NBA Twitter not only held its own against impeachment Twitter, it might have been more popular. There was some grade A memes. There was just funny ass takes because James Harden, let's be real, he looks like Rick Ross. He is a big dude, and he looks like he put on some quarantine weight. I'll just put it that way. But here's the trade. So the Nets traded. This is all the Nets traded. The Nets got James Harden. That's what they got. The Nets traded Jared Allen, Taurean Prince, rights to Alexander Veznikov. I don't know who that is. Chris LeVert, Rodions Kurucs. I don't know who that is. 3 first-round picks in 22, 24, and 26, and 4 first-round swaps in 21, 23, 25, 27. So in theory, they traded first-round picks from 21 to 27 because if they somehow suck in the odd years, they have to swap picks with the Rockets. And then the Rockets received LeVert, Kurucs, the 3 first-round picks, the 4 swaps, Dante Exum, and then another first-round pick from the Cavs.
Didn't get LeVert. Then they
LeVert. I'll get to that. So then the Cavs received Jared Allen, Taurean Prince, and the right to that, I'm assuming, Russian guy. The Cavs traded Exum in the Milwaukee first-round pick and then a 2024 second-round pick. And then the Rockets quickly swapped LeVert and a draft pick for Oladipo, who was from the DMV, went to DeMatha. That's the trade. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to give up. I don't know if they forgot about the trade they made for Paul Pierce back in the day when they traded essentially a very similar package. And then Boston got all those draft picks, and a couple of those draft picks ended up being really, really high because Brooklyn started sucking again. So I don't know. What's the initial reaction when you hear that trade?
They're not going to play any defense, right? How are they going to guard anybody? Who do they have? I mean, I know they have superstars, but
people now, when we think about it now, they have Kyrie Irving, who is kind of off the rails right now. He already thinks the world is flat. Now he's not playing. Kevin Durant's there, and then obviously James Harden. So you have 3 superstars who like to dribble the basketball a lot. As Charles Barkley said, Kevin Durant went from the Splash Brothers to the Dribble Brothers, which is a funny line.
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, so Savannah, I know you're not the biggest NBA junkie, but when you hear a trade like that, what's your thought?
Number one, I hate 3-way trades or 3-team trades. It's
really a 4. It's kind of like a 4-team trade when you add in that 4th team.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Number 2, I love Victor Oladipo because he was on The Masked Singer, so I think he does no wrong. Number 3, John Wall and Victor Oladipo together. I'm kind of excited to see it.
Yeah.
And that's about all of my NBA insight I have on this trade.
You think John's going to play spades with Oladipo, or is he just going to isolate and only play spades with his boys? You think Oladipo gets in on those games?
Victor Oladipo is going to start serenading John Wall before every game, and John Wall is just totally going to get his head right and be like, you know what, this is what I need. Like, I'm going to get into music now, and they're going to start making music, quit playing spades, and it's going to be really good for John Wall's mental health, I think.
Are we going to get an album between the two of them where maybe John's spitting bars and Victor's on the back with the R&B in the background?
Well, I think I'll buy a Rockets jersey if that happens.
You know what they need to do? They need to go back and get Troop 41's, do the John Wall, take that sample, redo it, and put some R&B or put Oladipo's voice to it. There's something there. There's a collab there for sure. But speaking of that trade, when we talk about like futures of teams and how people are set up, not only do the Rockets make out with, in theory, 7 or 8 draft picks, they're like set up in the meantime to still compete. Like, it's not like they just tore everything down. John Wall now has Oladipo. Boogie Cousins is still a decent player. Christian Wood, nobody talks about. That guy is a superstar and nobody knows his name. I think he called Shaq on the broadcast. Shaq straight up said, "Yeah, I didn't really know who you were," and he's like, "Oh, you a casual," and I was like, "Dang, that guy has some you know what's to call Shaq a casual."
Right.
He has no fear. But yeah, Christian Wood out of nowhere on a pretty affordable contract too. And then the thing that started all this, by the way, was James Harden at a press conference straight up said, "We suck, and I've given all to my city," which is not true. And then John Wall was like, "What did I get myself into? I have to now answer these questions at a podium about James Harden." And then he even was like, "Yeah, the chemistry wasn't that great." And I'm like, "Who called that?" James Harden and John Wall not getting along really on the basketball court. Anyway, we'll move on. But that trade is just ridiculous. Like, we're all looking at the same Google Doc. Like, that took up a decent chunk of it as a screen grab. But any more national nuggets that I missed? I kind of just put those three in. I don't know. Savannah usually says she screen grabs things and then like brings them to the table. So I'm looking at her phone. And I'm like, is she about to just pull something out?
Oh, let's see. First screen grab I have. Back to Nationals news. Wilmer Defoe is now a Pirate.
Oh.
So
Wilmer Defoe, he had
congratulations.
that one July where he batted 375.
And Wilmer Defoe, welcome to a losing organization.
Yeah.
Happy to have you. And then that's quite literally it. I have like 4 different Nationals pictures and then 3 different screenshots of the bling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. Would you guys buy that if you had
No.
Chase Young money?
No,
Yes, in a heartbeat.
absolutely not. I'm sorry.
I'm totally
Kind of
about
sick. I mean, I
flashy
like that
stuff.
my team leader is like that all in that he's gonna buy almost $100,000 chain.
Okay, I'll put it this way. I wouldn't do it, but I'm not going to tell somebody how to spend their money. I'm assuming Chase is a pretty smart dude, it seems. He's a wildly good leader at age 21, 22. I think he probably knows. He splurged a little bit. That was $85,000, which is more than I make in a year. So he was able to just buy a nice little accessory, and I'm assuming he has saved his money. He has a nice little account where he's put money away. He probably has a bunch of endorsements. Like Gronk one time said he hasn't touched his endorsement money, or he hasn't touched his contract. One of the two. He like hadn't touched like millions and millions of dollars, which is smart. So, Joe, do you have anything else?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, with that said, we're gonna get. So the Bachelor happened. We did recap the first episode, but then that was on a Saturday episode. Technology failed. Then we just said we were gonna recap the first 2 episodes today. But real quick, now it's okay if you guys didn't do it, but we were gonna do dad jokes again.
I've got one.
Oh,
You got one.
Yep.
I
Go
didn't
for
do my homework, so go ahead,
That's
Joe.
fine.
Okay.
I'll save all mine, but Joe can try.
It's a good thing that Aaron Judge plays outfield, because if he plays shortstop, they'd probably have to change the name of it to tall stop because he's so tall.
Yeah, you should have shelved that one.
You asked for dad jokes, dude. I'm giving you dad jokes.
It's just funny how you deliver yours. Like you have a certain delivery when you do it. It's like you have dad joke
He's a
voice. Dad joke
Yeah.
voice.
Great.
It's not that.
You know what? I'll read one since I have like 27.
Okay.
Because I was going through back when I put out the feeler of maybe possibly bringing dad jokes. I was like, which one should I highlight? No, this is a throwaway one. Have you ever heard of cow talk? I'm assuming no.
No.
No, it's rare. Get it? Yeah, that was a throwaway one.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Joe
Next.
wins dad jokes
Thank
of the
you.
day.
Thank you.
Tall stuff.
Yeah, mine had
Nice
a little bit of a think to it. Cows, steak, people. You get it rare. Anyway. So The Bachelor.
Terrible.
Okay, Bachelor.
Speaking of terrible, I'm not saying the show. I'm not saying the show. I'm saying a person on the show. We all know who I'm talking about. Okay, so let's recap real quick the first episode really quickly. So all the girls, there's a record number of girls that went on the show, and like I said in the episode that is lost for eternity, this is different because the first time I ever watched a Bachelor or Bachelorette was The Bachelorette, so it's all guys trying to get a girl, and now it's all girls trying to get a guy. So it's now like the perspective of like, okay, I'm gonna try to pretend to be the Bachelor, and which girl is the best. It's easier for me to do that. And now I get to see Savannah judge all the girls. That's essentially the other perk of it. So we're not going to go through all the ones that all what they do and stuff, but what were we saying our favorites were? Go around the horn real quick.
I like Brie.
Brie?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is Brie? Is she the one that went on the first date?
She got the first date.
I like Brie a lot, and the other girl that went on the date, I like her as well. So
Sarah. Joe loves Sarah.
First two. Sarah?
Yeah, that's her name.
How did you know I loved her?
Because you said it on the podcast.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You're like,
I do like Sarah.
Savannah was like, oh, like the journalist girl, and Joe's like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that Sarah and Brie are really cool. I like them.
Wait, speaking of Sarah, did you guys see, you guys might not be on this part of Twitter, but Sarah was spotted with G-Eazy back in 2020, like March 2020. Sarah and G-Eazy left a club together, and everyone's like, who's G-Eazy's mystery girl? And it's Sarah. So she's so cool.
Does that make her cool? G-Eazy's cool, but
G-Eazy gets made fun of a lot.
Sarah's hanging out with G-Eazy, huh? Wow. That's pretty crazy.
It was photographed with G-Eazy.
Real quick,
wow.
I gotta pause right now. Savannah, you're crackling.
Oh no! 1 moment.
Because sometimes it's my headphones and this mic, but that definitely sounded like
it's 100% my microphone.
It might be my headphones.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah.
My better?
Yeah, you're talking with no background crackle. All right, we're good.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we're gonna.
Okay.
What was it? G-Eazy, G-Eazy, is he cool? Blah blah blah. Okay, so mine was Rachel. I love her. I'll just say that. And I said my joke was that I've never like slid into somebody's DMs, but if I were to ever do it, it would be hers, which I haven't done, by the way.
She's a graphic designer. She cried when he did the prayer.
Okay. They're all emotional girls. There's a couple other criers in the group. Let's be real.
Not like that.
So yeah, okay. My favorite is Rachel, and then Abigail, who I also think is cool. She's the deaf one, or she's completely deaf but uses a colloquial implant.
You know what? I'm just gonna be real right now.
Don't say what you said last time, please. Don't.
I'm not going to. But I was gonna say, I think it's kind of messed up that they just give her the first rose. Like the producers are probably like, we're gonna give her the first rose, and we're gonna.
No, he kissed her.
And we're gonna, make her seem like,
No, if we're gonna complain about anything producers wise,
we'll see if she's there. We'll see if she's Final Four. I'll say that. That's all I'm saying. Well, I'm not so sure they didn't just give her the rose, and I'm sorry. I can spot it from a mile away.
Well,
I do see Bachelor producers doing stuff like that of like, we need to make up for how we've been in years prior, but I don't think this is the case of that.
Okay.
Well, the other thing was a couple other things. A girl named Victoria is on the show, which we'll get to plenty in the most recent episode, but she was very annoying. When they get out of the limo, she didn't get out of a limo. She got carried in because her occupation under her name said Queen, and everybody thought it was a joke, and she literally just keeps that bit going for the whole show, and it's starting to get really annoying. So yeah, she's the queen. Katie's the one who brought the toy. and she tapped one of the girls with it on the shoulder to say, "I want to talk to Matt," which was funny. Abigail first rose. Victoria can get punted to Mars. That was my notes. Okay. So to the most recent episode, I just want to ask this question. Because he's talking about when he starts the episode, he's like on a run, Mr. Fitness. And he's like, man, last night was like so fun. And I'm like, didn't you guys stay up till... They're up all night, right?
Yeah, the first night they're there like filming until around 7 o'clock in the morning.
He seems like he's not tired. I would be exhausted.
Guys,
I don't think it's actually.
What?
I don't think it's actually filmed the next day. I think they tell him like, okay, now go run outside for a minute. We're gonna film you and tell us like, oh, last night was crazy.
I definitely like think that, but still, I could see him being
the same way they record him showering, like go in the shower.
That's the part of The Bachelor I'm gonna be like, how long do I look at this for without being like, let's like speed this up a little bit. Okay, so yeah. I said Victoria, like every time she talks, she has some kind of bit where she's calling herself the queen. And she's like, I'm the queen. He's my king. I want to be like, this is not funny anymore. It was funny. She's the girl who you bring in for the first episode and she's all annoying. And then you send her home. You're like, good. We don't have to deal with that. But based on some previews, I think she's going to be here a couple more episodes. But
minimum 4 episodes.
That's what so she's going to be here at least next week and the week after.
Yes. And then they'll pick a new villain once they finally get rid of her. But she's around for at least 4 more episodes to stir the pot a bit.
All right, so let's just kind of like break this down in SparkNotes version. So the first date went to Bree. What were feelings on that date?
She's adorable. I love a girl that doesn't care about if their outfit's a little dirty. So cute.
Oh, by the way, they went on 4-wheelers and I was watching and I was typing this in just to like remember it. I was like, he's driving awfully recklessly, like in front of her, not with her on it. Like I was like, she's trying to keep up and he's like zigzagging. I'm like, okay, like chill out, like Fast and Furious 4 wheels. Like what's going on here? And then she gets on and then they actually fall off. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, like you could actually severely hurt yourself. I want to know the waivers they signed before they went on that date.
Well, you sign your life away.
Yeah. But that was kind of crazy. But the date itself, I thought it was very like meh what they like talked about.
I liked it.
I don't know. I just didn't feel like they had a chemistry going. I don't know.
You don't think so?
They shared the whole like our dads weren't in our lives, our moms were like younger when they had us. Yeah. Even though Bree's mom was 13.
Oh, that's right. I wrote that down. 13.
It's wild.
Think about turning 21 and your mom being 34.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like you go out, in theory, you could go out and like hang out with 30-year-olds as a young 20-year-old. And
like it wouldn't be weird if her mom was dating Matt James right now.
That was literally Claire, like
right?
Last season.
Yeah, like Bree's like 26 or something or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, Claire could be her mom.
Claire's older than her mom.
Well, I don't know exactly how old she is. I just added 13, so. Claire's basically 40 now. By the way, I saw Dale on Instagram. I'm scrolling, and you know how they break in. If you're scrolling, it breaks it, saying like, "Oh, you might see these reels." One was like Dale Moss, and I'm like, I don't follow him. Why is he coming up on my feed?
Dale is becoming my least favorite person on the internet.
I mean, if he wasn't already. Anyway, okay. So I just personally think the date was like, I know that it's like kind of like cliche. You talk about some deep stuff that maybe you don't, just to layers, but I just like there's some weird like awkward pauses. And I was just like, this is kind of like generic conversation. And they kept joking about falling off the 4-wheeler, like a little too much. It was like, how do we extend this conversation? I'm just going to keep making jokes about the thing that just happened. And it was just weird to me. I wasn't feeling it.
You didn't like when he was chopping that wood and spinning the axe.
That was so cringy for me. I was like, oh my God, this is like a weird
He
scene out
seems
of a
like
movie.
he's really funny though. Like he seems like if it's him and that girl, like when the cameras aren't around, he's probably like, "This is hilarious" or whatever. Like he seems like he's pretty funny.
What do you want me to do? Take my shirt off? Are you
Yeah,
want to chop wood just once? Okay.
yeah, so funny.
Oh my God. This just in, Matt James works out. If you didn't know, if you haven't seen,
Yeah,
If you can't tell.
if you can't tell, she's like, I was trying to count his abs, like he has it in between like 10 and 16. I'm like, actually, you can only have like 8, so chill out. That's like the max limit. So let's calm down there, Bree. Anyway, so Bree date. Victoria then basically just starts bitching about everything. She publicly just decides to be like, I hate all you girls. I'm not in a sorority, blah, blah, blah. And then like it cuts in between her like bitching at a producer. It's a producer. And she's just bitching at him. And then it's like it cutting to the girls talking about Victoria bitching. It was actually a funny like 5 minutes of the show. But yeah, she just like randomly decided to, nobody asked your opinion. And she just started bitching about being happy for somebody else getting like a first date, essentially.
yeah. I mean, it's obviously. Go ahead, Savannah.
I was gonna say she's not wrong. I understand that you're there to be with Matt James, and when someone else gets the date, you're going to be disappointed. Her approach is horrific. You can still be happy for someone else by still being disappointed that it's not you. Totally understand that. All the other girls being like, "I'm so happy it's Bree." No, you're not. You're happy for Bree, but you're not happy it is Bree. But Victoria, take it down a notch. You are there to make friends because if you want to be an Instagram influencer after this season, like you need people to follow you. So at least pretend to like people and be likable.
Did again, not to bring politics into this, but did we see Victoria get, I guess outed is the right word?
Yes,
yeah. Well, here's the thing, because I didn't see it when it happened or when it came out. So this was trending while the show was going on, episode 2, I should say. And somebody, it was three pictures of Victoria, and it was one of those like zoom in things. And I was like, and some girl just goes, "Is this you, honey?" And I go, "Oh God, what is this?" And I'm like clicking on, I'm like, okay, what am I looking at? I click on the second picture, I'm like, what am I looking at? I click on the third picture, I'm like, okay, that's a chair. That's that's a Trump flag. Oh, she's so screwed.
She's donezo.
I was like, your life already sucks because you suck on the show, but right now I don't know.
Not like you were likable before. Now you've lost all your Instagram.
Yeah, mainstream's not gonna be looking for kind to you. Mainstream life is not gonna be kind to you anymore. Anyway, so bitching at producers. Okay. Oh yeah, somebody was talking about Victoria saying a lot of what she does is off-putting. I'm like, yes, that is exactly how we all think about her. And then there's a wedding group date, which, like we said on The Bachelorette, that's weird.
It's very weird.
Like what would you think, Savannah, if you were on The Bachelor and they're like, go pick a wedding dress?
I'm also very superstitious, and it's like bad luck to put on a wedding dress when you're not engaged.
Also,
and that's just weird. It's bad luck. I don't want any parts of that.
Well, also just seeing like the thing with like seeing the bride before the wedding. So you're doing a fake wedding. So in theory, if you picked one of those girls on that date, you've already seen them in a wedding dress.
It's just not good.
Think about it. Wedding group date.
Okay, wait. Asking you guys as guys, wouldn't that freak you out? Like you're on basically a first date with all these girls, and now you immediately have to think about marriage with them.
Yeah, that's not happening. Like I would. So I don't know whose idea that was, but if I was Matt James, I'd be like, no.
I'm out on that.
Okay.
I said
what? I wanted to make sure I wasn't like alone and thinking.
Oh, okay.
Who's watching that and being like, "This is awesome"? Like, is anybody like, "This is cool"? Maybe it's supposed to be like super cringe.
Now, what happened after was kind of fun, which we'll get to. But I said 18 girls were on that date. 18. And then they were taking they were taking pictures like wedding pictures, and I think Mari was up. I think that's how you say her name.
Yeah.
And then Victoria just kind of does her shtick. She's like, the queen, the royal wedding is ready for their picture or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this girl needs to leave. Like just that action alone, Matt should be like, okay, she's annoying. Like I'm definitely punting her. But so that's why like this is definitely a producer thing. There's like keep her on the show. But then what happened was not all of them got pictures, and then they played capture the flag, or I guess capture the heart. And they basically just ripped up their wedding dresses and then got, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know, Savannah, you can describe what went on there.
So it was capture the flag meets a paint war meets like wrestling meets football. I wasn't quite understanding the premise of it. Like, I don't know why there were like 3 different teams or 2 teams, however they did it. It just didn't really make sense to me why we were incorporating so many things into one date. Save it. You have so many weeks left. You have so many dates left.
I mean, like MJ took a purse, like, so basically like there's purses, cake, bouquets, I think, and you dip basically those in paint and then throw them or tag or use them however you want to tag. And MJ took a purse to the face. Like that looked like it hurt. And then the team that won had Victoria on it, which made me mad. But I'm trying to think. I have something written down. Oh, Victoria. Oh my God, what am I trying to say here? My notes are mixed up. That's later in the episode. Anyway, I thought so. Mari actually got like most valuable player, even though she was on the losing team. I thought it was going to be my girl Rachel because she looked like she went through the mud, and then she also almost won the damn thing, but she got tackled by somebody. And then the group date happened, and then Victoria was on the like one-on-one time with him, and that's when she tried to get use her, I guess, insecurities as like a, what do you call it in like a movie to make a character more likable? Well, you already hate, like, it's like a villain, but you want to make the villain like somewhat relatable, so you don't like hate them completely. She pulled the like insecurity about her, I guess, weight, about picking a wedding dress. I think that was her thing. She basically was like, I have my own insecurities, like when I was picking out the wedding dress, I was like, does this make me look fat? And I'm like, sorry, that doesn't move the needle for me. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm like, doesn't work. You're still awful.
Yeah, and girly girl, you picked off a sample size rack along with 18 other women. Y'all fit in the same dresses. That doesn't work for me. Sorry, come up with something else. Say that you were bullied in the 3rd grade. Maybe then I'd give a shit about your backstory, but it seems like right now I don't. So try again with a sob story.
Woo! Woo! I have to bleep Savannah. That's a rare occurrence there. Yeah, I was just like, I don't want to be mean because I already like kind of was mean to her. I was mean to her on the episode that didn't air. I basically was like, I'm not like attracted to her in any way. It's not like, hey, you're good looking, but your personality sucks. It's like, I don't find her that attractive. And it's not anything to do with her quote unquote weight. Like, she's very normal size. She just isn't. But she's bigger than the other girls, but she's not. There's like an in-between phase. But that's not a sob story, and I'm not going to be like, oh, you have insecurities? You're not as bad now. No, all these girls have insecurities. Speaking of which, oh, and she asked for a kiss. Like, she didn't get a kiss. She's like, I want a kiss before I leave. I'm like, oh, I hate this girl. And then she came out and she's like, I put stuff out there. I should get the first date rose. I'm like, no, what? Jesus.
Does she think she's the only person that like in one-on-one time with Matt James was saying like deep stuff? Like, did she think that like I really opened up here? Like no one else was going to?
You're like, no offense to her stuff compared to what we'll get to on Sarah's first date. Her deep is like 2 inches in the water. Mm-hmm. Like, some of these girls went like, what Sarah had to tell was like diving into 12 feet deep.
And
so
I'm not faulting Victoria for not having a story like Sarah. I'm not saying like, oh, you have to have something like that for me to like you, but like, don't act like it's this big thing of like, I'm going to open up to him when it's quite literally something, at least I can say, every girl has. Oh, I'm insecure. Okay, join the club. Like, don't act like that's confessing something.
Honestly, and it's, yeah, I think it's a cliche where like girls do have like are stereotyped that way for that stuff. I would say like just human beings. I was like, yeah, I think everybody has insecurities. It's like, is it like, the famous joke saying where it's like, hey babe, does this make me look fat? And like guys still don't know how to answer that question without losing. Yeah, it's like everybody has their insecurities. So she's got to try a little harder than that, but it seems like she doesn't have to try too much at all because she sucks and she's still in the damn show. Actually, we don't know exactly because the show ended before the final, the rose ceremony ended. So, but then there was another first date. What did we think of Sarah's plane date? Which, by the way, I would never do. It didn't look like they were buckled in. I was like, one little gust of wind could turn that plane over enough to fall out. That was my thought.
Yeah. She wasn't saying much when they were like eating or whatever in the woods, and I was like, oh, maybe she's just really boring. But then she started hitting him with the heavy hitter stuff, and I was like, damn.
Well, I forgot what her. I was thinking it was coming back to me when like she wasn't answering the question about her dad, and I was like, what was up with her dad again? And then it hit me. I was like, oh, he's the one that she had to be a caregiver for. And then I forgot what disease, and I was like ALS, which sucks. But I don't know why she's on the show. If the timeline she just put, she's like, it's been 5 years, and the life expectancy was 5 years. I'm like, shouldn't you be home?
Yeah. And that's and Matt James even said that he's like, I feel like an enormous amount of pressure of like, what can I do to help you because you left your family to come meet me? Like, that's a lot of pressure on somebody.
Do they take their phones?
Yeah, there's no phones. But I'm sure in an emergency.
Yeah, I was like about to say, like, they have to have like for her at least an emergency contact. I thought he was gonna, when he started saying that, I was like, man, like I can't fathom like she's here. And I was like, oh, I thought he was about to send her home, just be like, I can't date you while you basically said your dad's about to die. I thought he was about to just send her home. I'm like, that's kind of, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how I feel about that, because in one way that's like very helpful, like very like nice sounding, but also very like kind of mean at the same time because she's obviously here. But yeah, she opened up pretty. Speaking of opening up, Victoria, that's how you open up. And then the drama kind of happened. Marilyn was talking to him about feeling invisible, essentially. He's like, I didn't get a date, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh, I remember your favorite flower was an orchid. And I'm like, really?
He remembered, I'm sure. It's not like you have producers in your ear telling you, hey, that orchid's for her, okay?
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me because I was just like, there's no way he remembered that. No way.
I felt bad for her, by the way. I felt like Victoria really f***ed her. Sorry for the language,
but totally, she did.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially a watered down.
Victoria was like calling her manipulative, but it's like you're the one being manipulated. You're causing all this to happen right now.
And it's a watered down version of Chasen and Ed.
Oh,
it's essentially the same thing, right? I mean,
always the same thing.
And except I don't think Marilyn's gonna look at Victoria and say like,
it's like Bennett. It's like Bennett and what's his name?
Noah.
Yeah, there's a couple ones. I think this is more.
No, because Bennett was like trying to say that Noah was doing this, and Noah was trying to say Bennett was manipulating. I don't know.
I think actually that's
emotionally deficient.
It's a little. It's a combination of both for sure. The manipulative thing, and then like he said in the Bachelorette with Ed and Jason. It's like, hey, you're saying the same adjectives to describe her, and he's just like relaying this stupid talk. But so Marilyn, I just wrote down, I was waiting for the Victoria drama, not just being annoying, but actually causing literal drama in the house. And all the girls are clearly just like, I hate you so much. Hate's a strong word. Dislike, despise. wish wasn't there. I'm trying to think, and I don't know what I'm missing. I have a couple of notes, but I don't want to leave anything out. Abigail and Rachel both had other good conversations again. Just I put that in there as my two favorites. They both had conversations once again. And then Victoria, because she didn't know what like it's like drinking out of a fire hose. Like she didn't know that saying. So when she was on the couch trying to resolve her issues with Maryland, she says, "We're like oil and vinegar." Like she didn't know the saying. She was like questioning her saying. She's like, "Yes, that's correct." Like this girl
Isn't it oil and water?
Yeah, it's oil and water.
Oh, that's
oil
even better.
Vinegar goes together, doesn't it? Yeah. I was like, when she said it, I was like, I wouldn't mind oil and vinegar.
Oh my God, I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself now because that makes it worse. That makes
all right, Mike, you get
she clearly
10 points dinked off for that.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know. Like what do you call those sayings? Like they're analogies, or I guess analogies or metaphors, one of the two. I get those confused all the time. But she clearly like doesn't know any of them.
No, I'd like to like talk to her in the real world for 5 minutes. Like, is this an act, or are you really just like not all there with everyone?
Also,
like,
she doesn't know. She said I'm the queen, and they're like she said gestures, like a gesture. Yeah. Like a nice gesture. No, girl, it's gesture, not gesture. That bothered me. I was like, you don't know anything. You can't even get your bit straight. You're a queen. Oh my God.
I studied up on that. If you're gonna stick with the Queenie stuff.
Yeah, she said. I mean, the queen thing. It's just running its course. I think even one of the girls was like, "Yeah, I thought it was kind of like a joke," and then it's like, "No, she actually thinks."
You know who said that? Was the girl that brought a toy the first night, who knows how to let a joke die. She by night one, and then now we haven't heard about it since. Literally, she's the one that was like, she's really sticking with that.
Oh, this is what I wanted. So Rachel started getting emotional after losing the tag. So here's what I thought. I was like, oh no, my girl's gonna catch a lot of flack for this. But then everybody was crying. Everybody was mad. Katie started crying.
We're keeping track of how many times she's cried. It's more than the others.
Yeah, so she's a little on the emotional side. So she's still up there. She's still up there for me. But
she's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But...
I will say this. I did follow her on Instagram. She has like 50,000 followers. How's that a thing? Unless that all happened like after night one.
Absolutely, it did.
Okay. Because I was like, okay, like how this girl's like basically
if she makes it to the final four, she'll get 1 million followers before she even leaves the show.
Well, then my DM will get lost in the mail. I guess.
My DM last season got lost in the mail. So welcome to the club.
Was that Jason?
Yeah. Never even got a look.
That'd be funny. How deflating would it be if you saw red or seen, I guess?
I don't know if I'd be like offended or like so happy.
I was like, oh, he saw it. It's cool. Okay. Any other final thoughts on? Oh, the Bachelor, the rose ceremony happened, and Sarah basically fainted. And then that's how it ended. So
save fainting for like when you need a rose, Sarah, and he's like, oh no, he didn't talk to me this week. Like I'm gonna faint. So he remembers who I am.
Her fainting is super relatable because I used to have low blood sugar essentially, and I would like basically what she described is like you're just standing and all of a sudden you black out and you get probably like cold sweat feeling and then you just faint. And so I've done that plenty of times, and like after like 5th grade I stopped doing it. But yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, oh my God, that I know what that feeling's like when she's like, I see stars, like I can't see. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having flashbacks.
I mean, like this cynic in me, I'm like, yeah, she's doing that for attention. Like I don't know why she already has a rose.
Okay, Sarah, we get it. Like,
okay, Sarah, you already have the rose. Save your time for some other. Yeah. Let another girl faint this week.
Fun fact about one of the times we were in line in school, like the class. There's a classroom door, and then for some reason lined up against the wall, and I felt one of these like episodes coming on, and I'm like, oh God, not right now. And then I tried to keep it together, and I just fainted, and my head hit the wall. That hurt. Yeah, I had to go to the nurse's office. Well, I had to go to the nurse's office anyway, but they were like, oh, you also have a bump on your head. Anyway, yeah. So, do we have any? Yeah, I see you, Joe. Do we have any final thoughts there?
No, I'm so glad you guys are in on the Bachelorette.
This is honestly, it was painful this episode. Every time Victoria talked, I wanted to. No, I didn't want to. It felt like somebody stabbed me in the ear, and then somebody yelled after. So it was like, "Oh, my ear hurts," and then like somebody screams to make it worse. So yeah, that's kind of how what her voice sounds like to me.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah. Only a few more episodes of her, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that,
jeez, we'll get Mike stop talking about how much he hates Victoria.
I'm not the only one.
God damn!
Literally, Twitter search Victoria.
Mike just bitching about Victoria, huh?
Twitter search Victoria Bachelor, and I am like in the high majority on that one. Anyway,
so are we.
Well, then join in on it. I don't want to be the only one. I know you guys feel the same way.
We kind of beat that to death, so I think we should be good.
Oh, yeah, so Victoria sucks. One more time. YouTube. So you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find it link in Instagram, DC Sports XP on Instagram and Twitter. And next week we should have at least one fun guest. I'll keep that under wraps until I get confirmation on it. But yeah, we'll talk some a certain sports team with a certain person. Fun.
Love it. Can't wait.
Alrighty.
Are we good? Joe just forgot to talk there. Okay. Well, with that said, episode 17. We'll see you for episode 18. See ya.
Later.